gonna make the joke that it wasn't. We're gonna get deplatformed from everywhere if I make jokes like that. But it wasn't even funny, so that's okay. You guys didn't miss anything. It wasn't funny. All right, so we're live, I think. Yes, we are. Hold on, let me just double check. If you are watching this, tell us how the audio is. I see Will Philly Fee in the live chat. I see Secular Atheism Foundation. I see Angel. Oh, on Facebook, I see Scott. He's saying, Scott, hey, Shabam, mute yourself. Your background noise is so much. It seems like you're in an airport or something. Scott is saying, hi, friends, can hear you. So, great, everything. So that means we have audio. Everything is good. Guys, make sure that if you're watching us to subscribe to the newsletter. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the description. If you're watching this on Facebook, go to atheistrepublic.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Before we get into the news is very juicy today, I think. But Susanna wanted to say something, right?
Oh, yeah. So exciting announcement. I'm officially the CEO.
That's not how you were supposed to say it. Remember, you didn't give the context. You were supposed to give context. But anyways, yay!
What context?
It's fine. It's fine. I told you that most people on Facebook and YouTube don't know that we're an atheist republic. We have to tell people, like, most people on Facebook think that we're just a Facebook page, and most people on YouTube think that we're just a YouTube channel. They don't know that Atheist Republic is a registered 501c charity in the United States that needs a board and a CEO and to file for taxes and blah blah blah, and we need a CEO, and Susanna is now our CEO. Yay! All right, so
thank you. Well, you did that much better than me.
Of course. So technically, Susanna is now my boss. Boo. But anyways, okay. So let's get to the news. No more fluff.
Okay, we're starting out heavy. So, in Tennessee, pastor raped his 14-year-old daughter for 2 years and gets a shorter jail time for being, quote, a man of God. A former pastor was convicted of raping his adopted teenage daughter beginning when she was just 14 years old. David Lynn Richards Jr. was found guilty by the jury on 9 felony counts, including rape, incest, and sexual battery by an authority figure. He was given only 12 years of prison time, despite the prosecutor recommending a sentence of 72 years. The judge attributed this light sentence to Richards' religious leadership and the outpouring of support from his congregation. The pastor maintains his innocence despite DNA evidence to the contrary.
Okay, so I was going to ask, how do we know this was because this is religious? But the judge apparently made it very obvious.
Yes.
Like he just okay, but how, is that not where is this again?
In Tennessee.
States? Okay, United States.
Mm-hmm.
So is this not illegal? Like, can the judge just do that? But like, oh, you're a man of God, so you get lesser sentence. Like, you could just do that, and that's everybody. Like, okay, I guess. Like, wouldn't that be against the something? How do U.S. laws work? Is that not against our constitution or something?
I mean, I'm no lawyer. I'm no attorney.
Oh, really? Great, thank you.
But it really, my vague impression is that it is up to their discretion. So I was reading that there is some, he was saying that, this is like a first time offense. That weighed his decision. He had an outpouring of support from his congregation. He was receiving letters from people that this pastor was having Bible studies with while he was in jail awaiting his sentencing. And that all seemed to sway his decision. And he only has to spend at least 9 years behind bars before he becomes eligible for parole. And now there is a petition for this judge, Judge Steve Swords, to be removed. And
oh yeah, great. like, is that, let's share that petition. Where can we find this petition?
I couldn't find it, and the petition also included some inaccurate information, so I didn't want to include it. But the courtroom was filled with 30 people supporting this pastor and only 6 people for the victim.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's so stupid. It makes, like what, we're in the most advanced country on this planet. The people who are supposed to like judge you are making decisions based on your, if you're best buddies with an ancient god. Like, what the hell? Like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm exhausted to even express my frustration. People, we just were like, oh yeah, well, again, like, we're so used to this nonsense that I don't even know. Like, what do we say? Do we just have to go through another rage again oh yeah, I fucked the child, but hey, I'm buddies with the sky daddy, so me, like, really, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's really bad. And this guy is he's maintaining his he's maintaining his innocence. Like, he still says that he's fully innocent. A lot of people in his congregation say that he's fully innocent.
Yeah, but if that, but that's not that's not affecting that's not. I wouldn't mind if the judge was like, if the decision was influenced by the fact that maybe we don't know, right? No, but it was determined that no, he is guilty, but he's a man of God. That's a different argument. If the argument was like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe he's innocent, then I don't care if he's a man of God or not. That should be taken into account. But this is not what's being taken into account. The decision has been made that okay, he's guilty, but apparently he's a man of God. So like, that's really fucked up, and that this is acceptable. Like how, like, do we even, we don't even need to comment on this. We could just read the news and just like let people, everybody knows how outrageous, like, given that most people know how outrageous this is, I would argue that even most Christians would know how outrageous this is. How is this acceptable in United States justice system, given that most people can just be like, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, most sane people listening to this will be like, holy shit, yeah, that's fucked up. How is it that something that's so obviously fucked up makes it into the United States? Are we missing something here? No.
Our justice system has not been doing so well for a long time, unfortunately.
Well, to be fair, it's not. It's better than most countries' justice system, but that doesn't say much. Scott on Facebook is saying it won't be short enough when this guy goes to prison. What? Those boys don't like people who harm children. You better pray and hard, buddy. But I doubt your God will be there to help when you are in new reality. Oh, so Scott is hoping that the other prisoners will do something to this guy. First of all, it's not like that in prison. The security, like, there is, like, yeah, I know that sometimes prisoners get in trouble with other prisoners just because they, they were child molesters or something like that. But that's not guaranteed. First of all, and second of all, I don't. That's not the right type of justice to hope for, right? We don't want the justice to be based on vigilante by other criminals in prison, and we don't want people to be like physically attacked. There needs to be a process. There needs to be due process and all that stuff, right? So yeah. So I don't agree with Scott. Mark is saying outpouring support he received from his parishioners says a lot about them. Let's be fair to the parishioners. We don't know if they actually, like, people like, oh yeah, look, he's molested a child and people still support him. Well, to be fair to them, they think he's innocent. Okay, so even if they're wrong, they're not like, it would be more outrageous. They were like, yes, he raped a child, but he loves Jesus, so we love him. Like, no, they're not. That's not what they're saying right now. I mean, they do say that sometimes. A lot of Christians do say that shit like that, which is crazy. But in this situation, they're not saying that. They're saying he's innocent. Even if they're wrong, it's less outrageous, right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it makes sense. I said it. Marty's saying definitely not being a man of God when he's doing that kind of crap. What are you talking about, Marty? Definitely not being a man of God when he's doing that kind of crap? No, what? No, men of God do this all the time. Man of God doesn't stop you from doing stuff like no. Please do not make it seem like, some people say like, oh, I wish these Christians took their values seriously. As even if it's bullshit, at least if they followed Christianity, they wouldn't be doing so much crap. There's nothing in Christianity that stops you from doing this. There's nothing in Islam or no, it doesn't. Look, show me the Christianity actually gives you permission to do shit like this as long as you believe in Jesus.
I mean,
Tell me one verse.
Susanna, by the way, Michael Sherlock is on Facebook live chat.
Oh,
What?
yay!
What happened?
Michael Sherlock is on Facebook live chat.
Oh, really? Oh, hey, Michael Sherlock. I want Susanna's opinions on this. Oh, Susanna, why? Michael Sherlock is in the live chat simping for Susanna. Susanna, tell Michael Sherlock your opinion.
I mean, what is there to say? This is terrible. This is reprehensible. And any excuse or lighter sentence because of an appeal to some religion is unacceptable. Yeah.
Right. Are you happy, Michael Sherlock? They're like, Michael Sherlock, let the woman speak. God damn it, Armin. Matt is here as well. Okay, good.
Does Shubham, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I mean, the news headline itself makes it look ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the next news.
Okay. Okay, in south of Baghdad, Iraq, an Iraqi man is sentenced to 2 years in prison for insulting the Prophet. An Iraqi man has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for alleged blasphemous comments against the Prophet Muhammad on Facebook. After an investigation, he confessed he owned the Facebook page and that all the comments were issued by him as an atheist. The Supreme Court claimed that the man had, quote, harmed the feelings of millions of Muslims in the East and West, end quote, through his alleged defamatory comments, adding that he was sentenced as per Article 372 of Iraqi Penalty Code, which has been in place since 1969.
Is it weird that I'm happy about the fact that he only got 2 years in prison for insulting Prophet Muhammad? Because if he was in Iran, he would get a death sentence maybe, or in Saudi Arabia. Like, what did he say about Prophet Muhammad?
I wasn't able to figure that out because I don't read Arabic, but he just something they kept on talking about, like vulgar words and defamation. Wait, what did it say?
This is progress.
The reporter for the media center of the Supreme Judicial Council added that the court found that that by his action, this offended the position of the Prophet and his house. So it's not exactly clear what it was specifically was said.
Okay, so it's hard for me to judge if this is progress or not, because if he came out and directly just outright insulted the Prophet, and he just got 2 years in prison, that is, if you compare that to Iran, or that's a pretty progressive. I mean, that's sad to say, that this is good because somebody just got 2 years from prison for just stating their opinion, which is fucked up. But relative to some neighboring countries, this is a very light sentence, right? Which is saying, I mean, I'm not happy that he's getting 2 years in prison, but I'm happy that he's not being sentenced to death. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, the clause of the penalty code stipulates that whoever publicly insults a symbol or person who is revered, glorified, or respected by a sect should be sentenced to up to 3 years or fined.
Oh, that's the Iraqi law.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody insults the devil, and we could argue in Iraq that devil worshippers are offended, would they arrest that guy? No. These
I
laws
mean,
are.
that's the thing. So someone, what's her name? Belkis Wile, I don't know how to say that, who is a senior Iraq researcher at the Human Rights Watch, said, quote, "This case is emblematic of the fact that for years authorities have used vaguely worded laws with provisions, most of which are from the penal code, on incitement and defamation that allow prosecutors to bring criminal charges for opinions they object to." So
Wow.
yeah, you're right. It is very purposefully vague, but they use it when it suits them.
So Susanna, you're getting pixely, probably because you're not wearing hijab and showing too much. Yeah, but
Yeah, Armin, Mike on the Facebook live chat is simping for you now.
oh, really? I like people simping for me. Great. I encourage that. Keep doing that. Alan
Bring it on.
Alan on Facebook comment section was saying, I don't know Iraqi law, but did he get a chance to face his accuser? Was Prophet Muhammad there with his complaint? That's good. I like the comment. Sean is saying, yeah, actually, that's very interesting because it technically shouldn't be under criminal law. It should be under civil law if you insult the prophet, because you didn't do anything against the state. You did something against another person. So you should not be able to do anything unless the real Prophet Muhammad shows up and files a case against you. And even in that case, yeah, why is it that for most people, if you do for civil law, if you take an action against somebody, you don't get prison sentence, you get sued. But Prophet Muhammad, apparently, if you think he's real, yeah, so this is nonsense. Oh, but if he's dead and you're insulting him and they will be criminal, does that mean that I can't insult other dead people? Anyways, I'm expecting too much from religious reasoning, quote unquote reasoning. Anyways, Philip is saying, what did the Prophet Muhammad say at the trial? Oh, another similar comment. Surely he needed to be there to register the complaint. Being offended on behalf of someone else doesn't make sense. This case should have been thrown out. I mean, you could also argue that most people wouldn't even complain if somebody offended them. They wouldn't sue you for being offended. Like, oh my God, this guy says mean things. Imagine if we did that, right? Imagine if anybody else were like, people were mean to me online and I'm going to take them to court because of that. We all be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay. Like,
And people do try to do that.
well, yeah, but most Muslims would recognize that as weak and pathetic. Most Muslims will recognize that as weak and pathetic. If you're like, oh my God, you're so offended, you're gonna sue somebody for mean comments online. But apparently they see less in their own prophet. They think their prophet is so sensitive, weak, and pathetic. And what they argue is like, listen, because we're not as important and as holy as the prophet. Insulting us is not that big of a crime, but the prophet is so great, he's so pure, he's so awesome, that even the slightest offense against him is like the biggest crime in the world. But if you take that reasoning, then you're saying that the less a person is, the more we could commit, like the more abusive we could be to them, and the more harmful we could be to them, because it's like not a big deal, right? So, like, if somebody like, oh, this person has contributed nothing to society, so just go like, I punch him in the face, Your Honor, but that shouldn't be that big of a crime because look at him, he's nobody. So, like, is that the anyways? All right, so let's see. Let's go to the next news. By the way,
Oh,
the news is not in order, so you have to. I have to look at. You have to tell me which news. All right, just give me
what are
the
you talking
headline and
about?
then
It's not in order.
in the Google
Oh,
Doc. The news is not in order, so I have to find it to bring up the comment section. But it's fine. It's
again,
fine.
that's because
Yeah,
of the thing earlier. My
it's
bad.
it's okay.
Okay. This is in India. Filmmaker Subhash Ghai suggests Indian temples to donate 90% of the gold to help people in need. On May 14th, Subhash Ghai tweeted, quote, all rich temples with huge gold reserves should surrender to the government and donate 90% of its gold to serve poor people under stress since they got it from people only in the name of God. End quote. Several Congress members have echoed similar statements. Meanwhile, his tweet prompted much criticism and demands that he in turn donate 90% of his wealth.
Well, he didn't get his money from. What does he do? Oh, he's a filmmaker. People
Mhm.
are like, oh, you give your money. Like, no, the temple got the money from the people to help for the sake of the people. That's his argument, isn't it?
Basically.
So he
He
like people like
has
you give 90%. Like, no, my people didn't give me money, and they're like, hey, I give the filmmaker. It's not the same thing. People didn't give the filmmaker money. Like, hey, we're giving you money so that you could help, so that you could make society better and all that. Like, no, that's you give me money because they produced a product and you paid me for it. But the temples are supposed to be for the betterment of the society, and that's my argument. So it's not the same thing, right?
I mean, what you don't know is, well, before that, first of all, he already pays taxes to the government, which is supposed to be used for the people. Temples don't pay taxes. And we are not just talking about temples having money from people right now, like from today,
Yeah.
because like these temples, like there are temples which are like centuries old, and they have money accumulated from years and years ago, like centuries ago. And there's this, yeah, I mean, they're fucking rich, all right. And there's also this one temple, I forgot the name, but this temple has like three underground chambers filled with gold, and one was opened, but they are not opening the other two because they're afraid of curses. That if you open the other two chambers which are filled with gold, which can be used for the people, but they're not opening them because they're afraid the people who open them will be cursed for eternity or something. These old temples, they are rich. Like we're talking about really, really rich.
Yeah, but by the way, if any of these temples or any other religious institutions decide to give money to the poor or something useful or whatever, don't be like, "Oh my God, finally, this is so nice." Any money, all that money is that they have is has been wasted. Like they have managed to con people to give them money for something that is not useful at all. So if you take what, like, let's say, like some money from people for something that is a waste, and then give 5% of it back, you shouldn't be clapping. You should be like, wait, just 5%? Where's the other 95%? To me, like, so just be careful when you see like the Catholic Church all of a sudden giving some money that something is useful. Then we're like, wow, don't do that, okay? To be like, no, wait, that's not enough. You have to give it all away. None of the money that you have is should be in your hand. You promised something to people. It was all based on a lie, and none of that, and it should be all illegal, in my opinion. I guess.
Well,
Some
I think it's worth noting that he has since deleted the tweet and apologized.
Oh
And
shit! God
yeah,
damn it!
he said, I feel pained and sorry to know that I have been misunderstood through my tweet by a few people. When I said rich temples, I meant temples of all gods, of all religions, not a particular one. It was a pure thought on universal human ground. My apologies if anyone is hurt.
Oh god damn it! Think like he must have gotten so he was like, fuck this shit. I'm not ready to deal with all this
Yeah, I
backlash.
mean, he
This
was
is what
also
the
attacked by
Hindu. Yeah, go on.
yeah, he was also attacked by many Hindus who were saying like, why are asking only the Hindus? Why not the mosques and the churches? So
Fuck off. This is what the Hindu mobs does this to you. Like yo, you have to be like seriously. Like if the Hindus are the new Muslims. right? We used like everybody used to be afraid of the Muslim backlash. Now the Muslims are chill compared to like they're not chill at all, but they compared to before they're now chill, right? They got so much. We shat on Islam for so many years. Muslims are now a little bit desensitized. I mean, they're not, relative to normal sane humans, they're not desensitized at all. But relative to how they were 10 years ago, Muslims are getting used to it. It's now the Hindus that we have to keep poking at the Hindus because they can. Shobham, mute yourself. You're like in an airport. It's like it's now the Hindus is like that are so sensitive that they bully people. This out of making them take. You have to. People are like, oh, why are you not focusing on Hinduism? Why are you not focusing on other religions? Why are you just focusing on Hinduism sometimes? Well, because of this. Because you guys, when we used to, when people told us that, why are you focusing on Islam? Well, sometimes, because Muslims are so sensitive that we need to focus on Islam to tell them, like, yeah, you don't get to tell us what to say and not to say, right? So now we need to also do that with Hinduism, because Hindus they put so much pressure on people when you focus on Hinduism that they have to apologize and all that shit. This is they're like a mob that they just come right after. Like they're so predictable as well, right? Like right now, if we talk shit about Islam on our videos, there's not that many Muslims coming up like, oh, we're offended to take this down, you bigots. Like it used to be like that, but now they're not like Muslims. Like, fuck off. God will punish you. You fucking Islamophobes. I'm like, Christians will never demand it for us to take something down or shut the fuck up. Muslims were like that a lot, but now it's the Hindus. Now it's almost guaranteed. If you go against Hinduism, their mob will come after you. The numbers are intimidating. Like you will like even a lot of people that were very comfortable going against Hinduism. Now they're like, holy shit! Like, what am I like? Once they start doing it, they like the number of people that come after it works. It works. People get scared. People are like, maybe this is too controversial. Maybe I shouldn't touch into it. And we need to normalize this. We need to shit on Hinduism as much as possible. This is now our main goal, is to shit on Hinduism. Okay, this is a anti-Hindu channel, full on. We're gonna go continue. If you don't like it, come at us, right? So
Hindu or Hinduism?
Hindu religion is Hinduism, not Hindu people.
Anti-Hindu. So I was clarifying.
No, Hindu is not just, Hindu is an adjective. It's not just the
anti-Hindu belief. Let's go with that.
No, but also, Hindu. If you say Hindu, you're not necessarily talking about the people, because you're talking about Hindu beliefs, right? Hindu tradition, Hindu religion means Hinduism. And people are like, oh, I mean, Hinduism is not just for religion. Yeah, I know. Fuck all of them. Okay, all of them. I know it's not just one thing. All of them. Fuck every single one of them.
I mean, okay, so P from the live chat actually Googled the name of the temple I was talking about, the Padmanabhaswamy temple, and we are talking about like billions or maybe trillions of dollars of gold under this temple, accumulated by kings for centuries, like even during the Roman Empire and before that.
Right.
And they're just not opening because of curses.
Okay, so technically you don't actually have to take away the gold. What you're supposed to do, I think, this is like historical stuff, right? You don't have to melt historical statues and stuff, right? What you're supposed to do, what I would do if I was in charge, are like, oh, you guys are, tax exempt and stuff. Okay, if you're tax exempt, this is public property. You could still be tax exempt, it's fine, but this is public property. This is a tourist destination. We could have tickets for people to come visit this, and the money from that will go to the public, something like that, right? So the money from people like that go to see these temples will be spent on art and cultural stuff. That's how you take the money to the public. You don't have to melt ancient golden statues and stuff. Don't do that. I don't care if it was based on bullshit. It's beautiful, it's historic. Don't destroy the statues, right? You don't have to get rid of the gold.
I'm not saying just statues. I'm just saying heaps of gold and
Old gold, or like just like like what kind of gold? I don't know. It doesn't
I
matter.
mean,
Too
I'm
much
not
detail.
talking like, I mean, there are, of course, coins and other stuff, artifacts and stuff, but there are also like heaps of gold, just gold.
Ooh, yeah.
Doesn't mean
Actually,
anything, but they were stored by kings as their treasures.
I mean, technically, they could just sell them, and you don't have to get rid of them. AJ is saying temples don't demand. Okay, so this is a brainwashed Hindu person on our Facebook page is saying temples don't demand gold. Temples run school and hospitals, feeding people worldwide. Banks are using gold of temples. Government is taxing them. Wait, are the temples being taxed in India?
No,
No.
no, religious ones are not taxed. Nothing, churches, mosques, temples.
Yeah, I don't think so. And also, again, if these temples do like uh do any form of charity, first of all, they're still wasting money, because if first, without these religions, we will still have charity. We will probably have better, more educated, more scientific based charity. Like these people have like religions have monopolized charity in a very ineffective way. But if you remove that charity, it wouldn't just be like less charity; it would get replaced by better charity. So
Okay, so
don't
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was wrong about one thing. There are some temples which are taxed apparently. I was
Oh,
wrong
okay,
about that. So yeah.
some temples. That's good. Great. Good job, India. Now tax the rest of them.
But the
Um,
churches and mosques are not taxed. That's
oh, really? Why?
yeah.
Why the temples are taxed and the mosques and
I
churches?
I think I have to look more into this, but yeah, churches
That's
and the
very.
mosques are not taxed, and I get
Oh.
and there are some temples which are
See,
taxed apparently.
a lot. I'm. I'm not like a lot of atheists are like, oh, tax all of them. I'm like, no, if you don't have to tax them as long as they play by the same rules as other charities, right? I think temples and churches and mosques should be able to keep their tax exemption, as long as, just like other charities, they have to open their book. They can't do it all privately, and they have to prove that they're providing a service to society, and the service shouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're spreading the right true religion. That doesn't count, right? So if you play with that same game, same rules that other people are playing, yeah, fine, you could keep your tax exempt status, but they don't.
And
They
everyone involved needs to be a mandated reporter of
right.
child welfare,
Okay.
because a lot of
Right.
people try to get out of that. Oh, and by the way, the news is now in order.
Oh wow, thank you. Wow, you're Susanna is secretly behind the background fixing things while we're talking. So
You have no
okay, good.
idea.
Thank you. Okay. Next news.
Okay. In Pennsylvania, a man tries to set a 4-year-old on fire to burn the demon out of him.
As you do.
Jesus Christ. A Pennsylvania man was arrested after he doused a 4-year-old boy with gasoline and threatened to burn the demon out of him, police say. A witness who arrived at the home before the police arrived reported that the perpetrator told him, quote, "If we can't get the demon out, I'll burn it out of him," according to the complaint. In addition to the aggravated assault of a person under the age of 6, the 27-year-old Josiah James McIntosh was charged with reckless endangerment and child endangerment. And when this witness attempted to get McIntosh out of the house, he punched him in the jaw and then smashed him in the head with a brick. And then he evaded the police, but they apprehended him after they searched the neighborhood. But besides the kid being doused in gasoline, reports say that he was unharmed.
Wait, aren't demons fireproof?
Well, there are some beliefs that say that you can have like a sacred or a holy fire.
Oh, I'm sure it's not like gasoline fire that's supposed to be safe.
No, probably not. This sounds like a straight up psychotic delusion to me.
So this, can we blame this on? Okay, again, we have to go over this. Can we blame this on? I have my answer. Can we blame this on religion, or was this guy just insane?
¿Por qué no los dos? Like, both. Like, you know, certain things feed delusion, right? So if I don't know this man's background, I try to do more research on his background and it's not clear to me, but high religiosity does feed these delusions.
So, but if it's a mental condition, then maybe he doesn't deserve punishment. He needs to be like healed and all that stuff.
Well, we still don't know what happened behind the scenes of all this. You know, this hasn't gone to court yet. The full investigation has not been available to the public. A local newspaper says that the child, this was the boy's father, but I'm not completely sure if it is in fact the boy's father.
Okay, so here's how I think it works. If somebody is mental and you can be like, oh, we can't blame religion here because this guy was just like had just mental issues. First of all, just be careful because most mental patients don't end up harming people. So let's not like say like, oh, you know, but even if somebody is doing something like this because they have mental issues, that doesn't mean religion is blameless. Because the example I usually bring up is like, imagine if somebody's hearing voices, right? And I go to them and tell them, instead of like trying to get them professional help, I tell them, listen, the voices that you're hearing, they're actually real.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a source of authority, and you need to take it seriously, right? You need to take this voice seriously. Okay, this is very important shit that you're hearing, right? So what religion does is like, yes, you have mental health conditions, but religion, just like religion usually doesn't cause the problem, but just intensifies the problems. It's the same thing with mental health, right? Religion just takes the problem that you already have and it just fucks it up to a astronomically higher level. So religion is to be blamed because, you know, it's just a toxic mix to your mental health problems.
Yeah,
just like it's a toxic mix with to anything else. But yeah, sorry, Susanna, go ahead.
It can fuel these persecutory delusions and hallucinations.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, and John on Facebook is saying, if convicted, he should receive that as his punishment. No.
Holy hell no.
No. We do not support burning people alive. We do not support. Well, see, we're so brave. Look at our position. Do not burn people alive. Hot take here, literally. But we do not. The worst people in the world do not deserve. Nobody deserves to be burned alive. Nobody. I won't take I won't take that back. Okay, there's absolutely zero. The number of people that deserve to be burned alive in this world is zero.
Shubham, do you have anything to add?
Not much, but I mean, if he was like really mentally ill and stuff, like I feel sorry for his kid because he is probably prone to violence and could have been like really abusive towards his kids. So that's what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
He's probably not going to be let around children for a long time, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope he gets. If he's mentally ill, I hope he gets the help that he needs. Anyways, next news. This is like PewDiePie. Next news. All right, go on.
Okay. In Kabul, Afghanistan, Afghan attack. Babies killed as gunmen storm Kabul maternity ward. On May 12th, unidentified gunmen stormed a government-run hospital in Kabul, killing 2 babies and 16 mothers as well as staff members. In the days following, Afghan officials have said that the attack led to the deaths of 24 people in total. Although no group has claimed responsibility, Afghan officials are blaming the Taliban. US officials believe that the Islamic State is responsible, as ISIS took responsibility for a suicide bombing at a funeral that happened on the same day, killing 32. Many are attributing the attack to sectarian violence, as the attack occurred in a mostly Shia area of the capital.
Wait, so this was not Taliban, this was ISIS?
Well, no group has claimed responsibility.
No.
Afghanistan's officials say that it's the Taliban. The Taliban has denied responsibility. United States officials say that it was ISIS.
Mm.
Yes.
Why
Because
did
The IS was behind another attack previously, so I think it's possible that they're behind this one, but they haven't claimed responsibility for this particular attack.
So maybe too many babies were killed for them to claim. Usually they're quick to claim credit. I mean, not usually, sometimes, but maybe they're like, oh no, too many babies. We're not going to take credit for this one.
it was pretty crazy. I don't know. Yeah, so reported, this is like horrible. I was looking up the videos and the footage, and so reportedly the gunmen made their way straight to the maternity ward. Like that was their destination. The head of the programs for the hospital, which is run by the French branch of Doctors Without Borders, Frederic Bonneau, he said that they came to kill the mothers.
What?
Yes.
Wait, this was the babies and the mothers were not like collateral? They were like, let's shoot the
According
babies?
to this guy who is the head of the hospital who was there, he said that they went straight to the maternity ward. Like that's where they were going on purpose first.
Wow, this is
And
dark.
yeah, the gun battle between the militants and the Afghan security forces went on for 4 hours, and all of the three gunmen were all killed during the standoff. So they're not
So
around.
why would they
for us
do
to ask
that?
them.
Like, this doesn't make like what's the strategy here?
So U.S. Special Representative Zalmay I'm gonna butcher this. Khalilzad.
Like he has fucking his name. That's epic. But go ahead.
Blamed ISIL for both attacks, including the suicide bombing at the on the same day in a different part of the city. He said that they're blaming ISIS because they're saying that the group is opposed to any Taliban peace agreements and is seeking to trigger an Iraqi-style sectarian war in Afghanistan. So that's one reason why the U.S. is pointing the finger at ISIS.
Right. So if you go and do something like kill mothers and babies, it seems like, again, we're just guessing here. We have no idea. It seems like they were trying to do something so outrageous to start they're hoping for revenge, right? They're like, let's do something that is like shocks people, and then they will react, and then they would react to their reaction. Like they're just like they were on purpose going for something that will just cause a lot of outrage. Is that
and that's my
theory?
understanding, because shortly afterwards, the Afghan security forces went from a defensive stance to an offensive stance once again against the Taliban. So,
I mean, okay, let's just be clear though. This is killing. Were the babies killed on purpose? We don't know, right?
they went after mothers and children.
Okay, this is not.
There were
I mean,
two children who were killed. Many more were injured, and then 16 mothers were killed, and then there was an additional 6 people who were killed.
I just want to be fair with our criticism, because this doesn't seem Islamic. I mean, it's not. Killing babies is not Islamic. I mean, I do not defend Islam. Islam supports a lot of horrific, barbaric, violent shit, but killing babies is not one of them. You cannot just kill babies, any babies, in Islam. You're not allowed to kill babies in Islam. So I mean, I'm just trying to be fair with my criticism against Islam, so that when I point out that something is the fault of Islam, people could be like, okay, well, no, well, he's not just saying that because this is not Islamic.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's why
being
most
honest.
people are pointing towards sectarian conflict.
I mean, it's not like sectarian as in Shia versus Sunni, right? Like, what kind of sectarian? It's not Sunni or Shia either.
No,
Sunnis
I'm not saying that
oh
that's due to either of those doctrines. I'm saying
oh
it's
right.
due to the conflict between them.
Right. So let's just be fair when we blame something. I mean, religion is not blameless here because it's Islamic violent nature that causes or helps to start these wars, and keep these wars going. And then when you have the war going, then these things happen. So it's indirectly Islam could be blamed, but there's nothing directly in Islam that allows you ever to kill a baby. You technically will go to hell for either forever or for a very long time, depending on who you talk to. But you're gonna go to hell for killing babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Michael Sherlock is saying this was a strategic move to draw U.S. aggression. Yeah, I think the Taliban is gonna miss United States. Like they're gonna not the Taliban, ISIS actually. ISIS, Taliban. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but my view is that Taliban would love it if United States leaves places, but ISIS is like, no, where you're going? How can we kill you if you're all the way over there? So ISIS is like, no, please don't go. Taliban like, yes, please go, so we could finally rule this land again. Yeah. Anyways, Shopam, did you have anything to say?
Not really. I mean, this is your area of expertise.
No, I mean, being against baby killing doesn't require much
I mean,
expertise. Like,
I mean,
I'm an
do
expert in
you
this
need
matter.
to
Like,
say?
shooting babies, bad. Okay, call me if you need any other expert opinions on this.
I mean, everyone knows about your viewpoint on cannibalism.
Right.
Oh, let's not open that one up again.
Right. Thanks, Shopam. We just lost half of our viewers now. Anyways, let's go to the next news.
Okay. In England and Wales, girls at risk of child marriage as half of local authorities fail to keep records. The Iranian and Kurdish Women's Rights Organization, or ICRO for short, warns officials about a likely spike in child marriage cases in England and Wales following the easing of pandemic lockdowns. It has written to local authorities amid concerns that social workers cannot properly identify honor-based abuse, including child marriage. Of the 1,764 cases involving possible forced marriage in the UK Forced Marriage Unit that they gave support to in 2018, 574, or 33%, involved victims under the age of 18. Currently, 56% of departments responsible for children's social care in the two countries were found to not record how many minors were at risk of child marriage.
Wait, where is this? This is where? This is in the UK?
Mm-hmm. England and Wales.
And what is this about religion? Is this a cultural thing, not religion?
Yes, honor-based abuse.
Honor-based abuse. So it is religion.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is it? Like, how is religion, can you explain? How is religion playing a role here?
Well, so based on my reading of the article, basically a lot of social workers don't seem to be properly trained to identify when girls are being abused for the taking on of quote unquote like Western behavior. And so this is kind of more cultural, but I just wanted to talk about this because we have been talking about child marriage recently. And a lot of girls run away from home to escape violence, and they're brought back to their family by social services, and they don't recognize why these girls are refusing to go home.
Wait, is this one of the? This is the Guardian, right? So is this one of those examples where it's because of Islam's honor system, but they're not saying it because they don't want to be Islamophobic in the article? Like, is this like one of those examples? Like, oh, like, they're just dancing around, pointing out what's actually going on.
Yeah, they don't bring up religion specifically in this article once.
But they mentioned honor.
They have hinted.
Yes, they do mention honor several times.
Okay, this is
they did hint at religions, like mentioning a comment from a girl because she was forced to wear a niqab or hijab as soon as she started her periods and stuff. They mentioned those stuff, but they didn't mention Muslims or Islam specifically.
So this
they mentioned a girl who was basically being threatened to be forced to go back to like Algeria for her Western behavior.
This is Islam. So this article is trying to point the problem, but it's actually demonstrating why it itself is part of the problem. It's actually, instead of showing us the problem, it's demonstrating the problem by being part of the problem, by not pointing out the source of the problem and like just typically like, oh, we have to address this problem and we're not. Yeah, you're not addressing the problem, you motherfuckers. You are too scared to be called bigots, and this is why your article is one reason why this stuff keeps happening, because you are too scared, you fucking cowards, to be like, yeah, Islam is causing this. Jesus Christ, man. Like, fucking pussies. Like, god damn it. Is there another one? Is there another source that actually reports this more accurately, or are they just all cowards and we're never going to get to the truth of? I mean, how could you address a problem like this if you're too scared of even identifying the problem? You guys are one of the reasons why these kids are getting raped. Okay, you're promoting child rape. Okay, by being too scared to just spill it out, to just be like, hey, this is the source of the problem. If anybody has more knowledge about these cases and what's happening, can you, or better sources, or we want to educate us about, can you like link in the description to some legitimate, like not some alt-right source that like thinks everything under the sun is because of all the problems because of either the Jews or Muslims, not something like that. Like some actually legitimate source that actually look at this. The problem is that some of these, it's not just that journalists that won't point the problem. The people that are even publishing the data sometimes hide the data because it might be like, oh, come off as racist. So you can't even do honest journalism because you don't have the data. Like they just go like, hey, let's just group all these people as Asian or something like that. Like, oh, let's not Middle Eastern and Japanese people. Let's just put them all in the same group. Let's stop asking people's religion because this is gonna cause a problem. If fuck, like, Anyways,
I mean,
go on.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because I was just Googling it up, and there's an article, it's old, it's like 2 years old, but this article also mentions child marriage in UK, and they didn't mention any religion or anything. They just said children from Middle Eastern and South Asian backgrounds.
Yeah, fucking hell. So this is how this is causing problems in so many different ways. One, you're not identifying the problem, so you're if you don't identify a problem, you can't fight against it because you're too scared to. I mean, even the fucking police were too scared of being called Islamophobic, so they just said they looked away at crimes in the United Kingdom when children were being groomed for being raped and stuff. Right? I mean, if the police are scared, what do you think the journalists are not going to be scared? And so that's one thing, but I mean that's the main thing. But you're also now, because you're not reporting these things, these fucking crazy alt-right people are going to be like, hey, let me give you the real news. And a whole bunch of people are going to be like, oh, look, these people are actually giving me the real information here. And guess what? You're so scared of bigotry, but you're promoting the fucking bigots because you are promoting the goddamn biggest, because people will have to go to them to get the real analysis, and now their sources of content creation is going to become more popular because of you idiots. Anyways, I mean,
we can't
yeah.
allow them to be the sole providers of this news. We have to
Right.
take back that, well, I don't want to call it a narrative, but the topic, right?
Right. Anyways, if we're wrong about this, please educate
Well,
us in the
I really want to like mix in Hinduism with Islam too in this article, because I mean, yeah, mostly Muslim girls face this, but Hinduism also condones child marriages. Like there are verses which say it's very dishonorable for the father if he doesn't marry off his daughter before her periods and stuff. So,
before
but I
puberty, really?
yeah,
I
there
mean,
are some like before periods at max before teenagers.
what? Okay, this is like whenever you hear child marriage, just remember that means child rape. Child marriage means child rape. Just replace those two things. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to the next news.
Oh, well, speaking of honor-based violence, in Champlan village, Pakistan, Pakistani girls murdered over phone video footage. 2 girls, aged 16 and 18, were shot dead by male family members in Champlan village after they appeared in a video wherein they were kissed by a man aged 28. The video was recorded nearly a year beforehand, but had been circulating on social media shortly before the murders. The man in the video has since been arrested for making the, quote, vulgar video. A male cousin of the girls has also since been arrested, and the father of one victim and the brother of the other victim are also in police custody for failing to report the killings and concealing evidence.
Wait, who got arrested? The people that did the honor killing got arrested?
One guy who was a cousin of one of the girls was arrested for the murder. And then the father of one and then the brother of the other are in police custody for not reporting the murder and for concealing evidence.
Yeah. I mean, let's be fair to Pakistan. At least this shit is illegal, you know? And they actually are arresting people. But I mean, that's not saying much. But that's, I guess, where our standard is. Like, oh yeah, great job, Pakistan. You actually didn't let somebody who killed a girl for just kissing somebody let loose. But in Pakistan, the mob is scarier than the government, right? So, for example, in some countries, like in Iran and Saudi Arabia, the government is scarier than the people. But in Bangladesh and in Pakistan, the people are scarier than the government. Sometimes you might want to be like, "Hey, I committed blasphemy. Please arrest me before the mob gets to me." Right? But so what did she do? Like the video was made a year ago, but she was killed now. Was the video released?
So I wasn't able to find the video myself, but the BBC reported that they had obtained it and viewed it, and so they reported that in the video, he appears with, the video seen by the BBC. The man is seen in a secluded area outdoors with 3 veiled women, 2 of whom he kisses. The third girl who is not kissed in the video is believed to be the wife of the suspected killer, according to the police. She is also believed to be in hiding. And then they also arrested the dude whose phone was used to make the video. And he's suspected of being the one who posted it on social media.
So he saw this and got so outraged that to defend the honor decided to go kill her? That's our understanding?
Well, the male family members, yes.
So again, they have to be very fully transparent about this. Is this Islamic or is it not? What do you guys think? Can we blame Islam for this?
I do think it stems from Islam.
My understanding is that there isn't anything specifically in the doctrine about this, but it's been culturally adopted over last 1400 years.
Yeah, I mean, there is no doctrine in Islam that allows just family members taking. I mean, technically, if you commit adultery, like it has to be adultery if you have 4 witnesses, and after you have judges and stuff, then you could, execute the person that committed adultery, which is already very barbaric, but that's Islamic. But it's not Islamic for a family member to be like, "Oh, my daughter kissed another boy," and then shoot them in the head or something like that. Yet that is not at all Islamic. And again, I'm not defending Islam, because what I described as what is Islamic is already barbaric. Like, oh yeah, so civilized. You guys had a few judges and had witnesses, and then decided that this person committed adultery, and now you're stoning her to death. So yeah, that part is Islamic, and that's barbaric. But this is not Islamic. But just because something is not Islamic, like there's nothing in the doctrine of Islam that condones this, that it doesn't mean that Islam is completely blameless, okay? Because honor culture does come from Islam, enhances honor culture, and the honor culture that Islam enhances is the indirectly responsible for crimes like this, right? So even if it's not within the Islamic doctrine, the environment that you create and the values that you spread could indirectly cause, like, why is it that we have honor killings is mostly in Islamic countries, right? So there are many countries with completely different historical background, with completely different people, and also but yet most of the honor killings happen in Islamic countries. So even though it's not Islamic doctrine, it is Islam to be blamed. Like, for example, the same way that we blame Christianity for child molestation, even though there's nothing in the Bible that says like, hey, go molest children, right? No, there is not Christian doctrine, but Christianity is responsible for creating some general attitudes and beliefs and environments where makes those acts more likely. So even though it's not Christian doctrine, we could still indirectly blame Christianity. So I think
and also the wiping away of culpability and guilt through salvation.
Yeah, Christianity does that. Islam doesn't do that, but I mean, not to the extent that Christianity does. But yeah, you're right, completely right.
So I was looking up more statistics on this, and the Honor-Based Violence Network reports that there are approximately 5,000 honor killings happen internationally every year, with 1,000 happening in Pakistan every year. So
wow.
1/5 of the world's honor killings are performed in Pakistan. And that also means that, and then an additional 1,000 occur in India every year. But due to population, that means that Pakistan has the highest number of documented and estimated honor killings per capita of any country in the world.
Right. And the other than India and Pakistan, the rest of the honor killings, adjusting per capita, is mostly Islamic, right?
I can look up the rest of their statistics. Give me a second. They did, yeah.
But think about how strong, whatever your source of beliefs are, whether it's religion or culture or whatever, but think about how strong your belief system has to be like, you know what, I'm going to go to jail for this, but hey, honor, I have to do this. Like, think about the number of emotions that you have to overcome to kill a member of your family. First of all, it has to overcome the love that you have for them. Right? Like, for example, the fathers killing their own daughter. I mean, naturally, I think most people love their daughters. So I'm thinking about how strong the belief system has to be to overcome that. And then you have to feel most people don't want to go to jail, don't want to have a record of murder. It overcomes that as well. Like, this is how dangerous belief system can be. Like, it's so powerful that it's just like, yeah, I don't care about any of that. This person has to die because they kissed somebody. Like, and it's not, and people are like, well, these people are insane. I mean, no, because it's not like one or two person. Like, it's these are otherwise sane people. Like, that's how toxic these belief systems are, that in a normal society, these people wouldn't even consider doing something like this. That's how toxic belief systems could be. It's very powerful. Susanna.
It literally says on their website, it says they have an FAQ. Are honor killings and honor-based violence related to religion? They say there's little scriptural support for honor killings in any major religion, and it has been roundly condemned by several high-status religion leaders. This attitude, however, does not necessarily influence all members of a religion who tend to view all aspects of their lifestyle and culture as being related to their faith, even if they are to stand in contradiction with the official religion. So that relates to your point earlier.
Yeah, but they're not giving us the other side of the same point. Like, they're just trying to be PC about it, no?
What do you mean?
Like, what can you? I didn't get the last part. Are they saying like this has nothing to do with Islam and all that? Like, did they point out whether this is happening in Islamic communities more?
No, they don't really provide a breakdown like this on this website.
Yeah, so they're only
Because
pointing one side of the story. They're pointing out
they're
that it's not Islamic doctrine, and like, oh, not all Muslims, and also this is not Islamic doctrine. Okay, yeah, fair. But they're not going to tell you whether this is happening on a per capita basis more in Islamic communities or not. Like, you have to also point that out as well. Like, they're just giving you the safe and PC side, which is technically true, but they're not going to give you the other side that will get them in trouble. Like, it's fair to say that, for example, you could be like, it's fair to say that most Muslims are not the vast majority of Muslims are not terrorists. Okay, fair. That's fair. But are you also going to point out that most terrorist attacks are happening by Muslims? Like, are you going to also point that out, or are you just going to point out one side of the, So I think you have to be transparent if you're going to point that out. But anyways, I think most honor killings if you adjust per capita, it's safe to say that most honor killings is done in Islamic communities. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. But I think I'm right.
I mean, yeah, I was just looking, reading an article about it, and yeah, around the world it's mostly Islam. In South Asia, it's also some Hindus. Like in northern India, there are Hindus who practice honor killing. Even though it's the same as Islam, I don't think any doctrine actually supports it, but they still do it because of their faith and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Hindus and Muslims have a lot more in common than they want to admit. Anyways, let's go to Susanna is doing intense research trying to figure this out before we move to the next news. But you're late, Susanna. Next news. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Susanna.
Okay, so in Louisiana, Christian pastor, I won't obey health orders until they, quote, sell popsicles in hell. So back in the news again, Pastor Tony Spell of the Life Tabernacle Church said he won't obey the sensible instructions to hold church services outdoors and limit attendance to 25% of capacity until they, quote, sell popsicles in hell and set up an ice skating rink in the Lake of Fire and sell tickets for admission. He continues.
While you're doing that, I'm adding popsicles in hell as a T-shirt idea for. You go on while I make a note of this.
He continues, quote, we will never comply with any anti-God, anti-church, anti-free American Christian order that says do not have church. Spell went on to say that he would have an overflow attendance at future in-person indoor church services, including people who are coming from out of state. This is the same pastor we talked about a couple weeks ago who almost ran over a person who was protesting his congregation's refusal to abide by state-mandated COVID restrictions. And he is currently under house arrest for that incident for charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Wait, what? Where did the weapon came? I lost. Like I was thinking about popsicles. Where did weapons come all of a sudden? That was
So
unexpected.
when he tried, there was someone. My understanding is it was one person who was repeatedly protesting outside of their congregation for their flouting of the rules, and he tried or came very close to running this person over with like a church van or a bus, and so because of that, he came very close within hitting that person. I don't believe anyone was actually injured.
On purpose? Like not on purpose.
It was believed to be on purpose.
I was
can't
trying
remember
to
the
like this
details.
guy. I was like the guy
No,
was
this is
giving.
not someone you want to like, Armin. I've done a
Okay.
lot of research on
I
him.
like his
He's a bad
analogies
guy.
though. I
Well,
like his
that's the
analogies.
thing. He's a Southerner, so they have these fantastic turns of phrase, and
Right.
they're very charismatic and funny. So
I mean, technically, we don't really know if they don't sell popsicles in hell. Like, I don't know. We haven't confirmed that yet.
With the amount of scientists in hell, I think they have invented a refrigerator there to keep popsicles. I don't know. Just saying.
Right.
Yeah,
go on.
So what I was saying was because of that incident where he almost tried to hit someone, that's why he has charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The deadly weapon being the car.
Yeah, but charges doesn't mean that it was convicted. Okay, so we don't know. As much as it's fun for us, for some people in the live chat to be like, "Oh, pastor, horrible! You know, you want to kill somebody with a car." Like we do nothing. These things are not proven. Don't get so excited. Don't because just somebody is a pastor to just believe everything that you say against them, right? So we don't know if he did that on purpose. Just charge every time. Like you, be careful always about anything. Like when you hear this on the news, I think the level of anger people have when they hear somebody was charged and somebody was convicted, it seems like the outrage is the same, even though they're completely like you should have astronomically different reactions to that. Charged doesn't mean much, right? You shouldn't be like you don't see people be that much, emotionally treat these as different. If somebody's charged with a crime, if they're on your side, you tend not to believe them, and if they're not on your side, you're like, well, obviously he's a pastor. Like, but be careful, like, be skeptical about all of this. Even if convicted, still, like, your skepticism should be reduced, but it shouldn't get to zero. Okay, and skepticism doesn't mean 50-50, right? So you should just go like, oh, charged, okay, 50-50, all of a sudden to convicted. Like, you should be like, oh, okay, maybe 98% now. Don't ever go to 100.
Yeah, we know.
All right. Just wanted to.
So the governor is saying that there is an easing of orders and congregations can start to run at like 25% capacity. And he said in the video, he's like, I'm running at 125% capacity and I'm doing it indoors. And my understanding is that he's been breaking house arrest to still go to his congregation. I Googled, and one member of his church actually died from COVID last month.
Okay, so another thing with, first of all, I mean, this guy is just breaking the law and just advertising it. I mean, isn't he just going to get arrested and criminally charged? Isn't that just a simple, okay, fine, you're okay with breaking the law? That's fine. Or I hope you're also okay with the consequences. Like, isn't that just as simple as that? Like, hey, I'm breaking the law and I'm okay with it. And I'm telling the world that I'm going to break the law. And the police are like, okay, thank you for letting us know. You're arrested and now you have a criminal record. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay, fine. Everybody's happy. You are happy with committing a crime and we're happy with giving you the punishment. So, like, what's the
He seems to be doing all this very strategically to put himself in the spotlight and to he's been asking people to donate their entire stimulus checks to his organization. And so I think it's another ploy for that. And I think it's a way for him to build up his cred, like the strength of his conviction. Yeah, so to me, I think he's purposefully like poking the bear of the law, trying to use it as a tool to gain more attention and more of a following.
Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, I guess if you go to jail or get a criminal record, but then you get rich because of all the attention you get, maybe you're like, it was worth it. It was worth it. Fine, I get in trouble with the police for a bit, but look at all this money, so it's okay. Like, so, like, I mean, even if he gets prison sentence, how long could it be? It can't be that long, right? So maybe it's all worth it for him. Maybe it's very strategic, but here's something you have to be careful about. When people die in these churches, and you're like, oh look, haha, like they didn't, they broke the rules and now they're dying. Look at them. This is the consequences. I mean, technically, these rules is not about people not getting COVID. It's about getting COVID slower, right? Like, it's not about these whole flattening the curve and stuff was not meant to prevent people from actually getting the disease. It's about, rather than 1 million people getting it in 1 month, like I'm just making up numbers, like 100,000 people, rather than 100,000 people getting the disease in 1 month, you want 100,000 people to get the disease in 4 months, so that the hospitals don't go over capacity, right? So none of this, I mean, was ever about reducing the. Okay, again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist. Blah blah blah. I'm not a doctor. All the disclaimers, all the legal disclaimers, all of it here. Like, imagine that I just said that. Go do your own research. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Don't trust anything I say. Just like,
we know.
Yeah, all of that. Okay, so don't trust me. Do your own research, or don't, whatever. And that. But so my understanding is none of this is about preventing people from getting sick. It's just about preventing people from getting sick too quickly. Okay, so don't these people, when you look at the churches and be like, oh no, like they're getting sick because they didn't follow the rules. It was never about not getting sick. Okay, it's just be accurate with what you are saying. Just like, or else you're gonna spread misinformation. Think, if you want to go and make people think that all these quarantine and masks and stuff, it was about avoiding people from getting sick, then you're spreading misinformation, probably. I don't know, do your own research. But and at the same time, however, you might, by delaying the process, you might actually do avoid some people from getting sick, because if you make it slow enough, some people might get sick after you have a cure. Not a vaccine. I think the vaccine will come a lot later, but there might be medicine coming out that will make the virus effect very, very limited, or the spread of it very limited spread of it. So you actually might also prevent some people from getting sick if you delay the process a lot. So, like, let's say the cure comes at month 5, and you flatten the curve for some of it to show up after month 5, and all the people that showed up after month 5 maybe don't have to worry about it anymore because, hey, we have a cure. Anyways, wishful thinking. But anyways, do you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, so John Noble in the Facebook live chat mentioned something. I completely forgot about it, but apparently they do sell popsicles in Hell, because Hell is a town in Norway.
Oh, that's interesting. That's funny. Okay, cool. What would, if the actual Hell, the real Hell, if they were selling popsicles, what would it taste like?
I feel like that would be part of the cruel torture, is that, like, right as you're about to enjoy this popsicle, it just melts in your hand.
Susanna's consumed a lot of Islamic mythology. That's why she's saying this.
That's actually very Greek. I was thinking of that Greek myth of the guy who's in a pool of water, and every time he tries to drink, the water sinks, and at the same time there's a fig tree, and every time he tries to reach for the fruit, it moves out of his hand.
Torture popsicles.
Yeah. And maybe it just tastes like atheist tears. I don't know.
Those are delicious. Anyways, next news. We're getting next news.
Okay. Oh, geez.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Morocco, Moroccan police arrest 5 for deliberately smoking during Ramadan. Article 222 of the Moroccan Constitution criminalizes breaking the fast in public during the holy month. 5 teenagers were arrested, and not only for breaking the fast in public, but also for violating the state of emergency orders regarding the pandemic. The 5 individuals risk a fine between the equivalent of 30 USD to 130 USD for violating the state of emergency, in addition to 1 to 6 months in jail for breaking the fast in public. So I thought it was really interesting. It should be noted that this isn't just an arrest for smoking. It was also an arrest for breaking curfew because of pandemic lockdown restrictions and stuff. But I thought it was really interesting how it was a small fine for breaking the lockdown, which puts everyone at risk potentially, versus months in jail for breaking the fast.
Well, I mean, technically, in Islamic countries, you don't. It's not the law that you have to fast, okay? Because you are allowed to be a sinful Muslim, and that's just between you and God. What is the crime is if you are breaking your, you're doing it publicly. Do you know what I mean? So if you eat, like, for example, in Iran, if you eat in public, or if you drink in public, or if you smoke in public, or if you swim, do you know in Ramadan you can't have your head underwater? That will break your fast. Yeah, the pools close down. The swimming pools close down. Then that's illegal. But again, for something to be un-Islamic, by the way, this Morocco is like one of the most liberal, moderate Islamic countries out there. Okay, probably the most. Can we say Morocco is the most secular, liberal, moderate Islamic country? Is there probably one? It's like, at least if it's not the most, it's under 5. Like it's 2 or 3. Like it's the best. So this is the best you could hope for from an Islamic country. Like, okay, so if this guy got punishment from breaking curfew, that's fine. But if there's any punishment on top of that for breaking Islamic rules, that's the part that we're pointing at that is nonsense. Okay, like, if you think like, oh well, he deserves it because he didn't follow those other rules, yeah, fine, whatever. We're just focusing on the fine, the part of the fine that was for smoking during Ramadan. This is the best you could hope for. Like, this is the most secular Islamic country out there, and the government think it's its job to enforce Islamic laws. Like, this is how ridiculous. This is what the standards are. Like, and imagine if this is the best you could hope for, how ridiculous shit is in other places, right? But here's what my question is. So people might think like deliberately, like, what do you mean deliberately? Because how could you accidentally smoke? Well, the reasoning behind that in Islam is that, like, let's say you're fasting during Ramadan, and then you just have a force of habit, like you see a stag and you forget that you're fasting and you just eat it, or you just, like, by force of habit, you light a smoke and you just smoke it, and then you're like, holy shit, I'm fasting. I forgot that I'm fasting. That's okay in Islam. Your fast is not broken. I mean, the way they told us in school is like, let's say in the morning, you wake up and you start fasting, and then you forget that it's Ramadan, and you start eating from morning all the way till afternoon. That all the entire duration that you're supposed to be fasting, you eat all day, and then you realize, holy shit, I was fasting. All of this shit that you ate is okay. If you don't remember any of that, they're all okay, right? So you have to be like, on purpose, or like, oh, I'm gonna eat this, or I'm gonna smoke even though I'm fasting, I'm breaking my fast. That's the only way that you're committing a sin. Okay, so what I want to know is, how does the Moroccan police know that these people were smoking on purpose? Like, how, like, would they, like, did they ask them and they were like, yes, find me, like, or I was smoking on purpose, like because they were like being rebellious or something like that. Like unless that was the situation, how can they prove that these people didn't do it accidentally? Like if they say like, oh my god, sorry, I forgot, do they still get a fine? Like does the Moroccan police claim to have mind reading powers or something like that? Like how does this work?
It doesn't really specify. It just says that they were caught on the street, and then put into custody. They don't specify the motivation or intention.
Yeah, I mean, if I was being arrested, I will use Islam against them. I would like, only Allah can judge me. This is not your position to me. This is not your right to make pass judgment on me. Who you think you are? You think you're God to decide what goes on in my heart and my mind. Like I would just like start preaching Islam to them if they wanted to enforce Islamic laws on me. That's what I would do. And I would like try to appeal to Muslims and be like, these people are thinking they're taking the position of God and they're passing judgment on me and they don't like anyways. That
There's
works,
a
by the
fun
way.
fact that I learned when I was researching this. A tobacco fatwa was first issued in Morocco in the year 1602.
That's only interesting to you, Susanna, because you're a nerd.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Let me live, goddammit.
Shubham, do you have any comments?
No.
All right. Okay, next news.
Okay. In Hosturg, India, a 21-year-old queer student dies in Goa. Homophobia triggered her suicide, said friends. Roughly a month before her death by hanging, Anjana Harish, a 21-year-old openly bisexual student, posted a video to Facebook detailing the abuse she suffered from her family in an attempt to, quote, cure her bisexuality. She described solitary confinement in a cell at a mental health center under the guise of conversion therapy and the dizzying side effects of the medication she was made to take. Her friends point to the pervasive homophobia in her household as a major factor in her death.
Jesus Christ. Wait, Shubham, this is what you'd have to deal with as well.
Yeah, she had it a lot worse because they actively went for conversion therapy. I mean, in my case, it was kind of the case because the psychologist I had to go to was like shit and stuff and made me feel bad about myself. But yeah, she actually had to go to like all the quacks and everyone for conversion therapy. And my family also believes that cure me and some things, but I think she had it worse than me. I would say.
But is this a cultural problem in India or is it a religious problem? Is it a unique?
Right. Okay. So it's actually a bit long. First of all, like homosexuality was officially criminalized during the colonial times because of Christianity and stuff. It was once decriminalized back in 2009 in India. But then again, they retracted the statement in 2012. So everyone who came out suddenly became criminals after 3 years.
Sorry, what is it about colonial attitude? What you're saying this is because what?
During the colonial times, the British, they imposed the ban, like the Indian Penal Code, they made it so that homosexuality is illegal. They don't mention homosexuality; they mention a natural sex, like anything like anal sex or oral sex or stuff like that.
Right. So
considered as unnatural.
So this is one thing that the Hindu apologists are correct about. Like we usually don't say this on this channel, but the Islamic Empire and the British Empire are responsible for spreading this type of intolerance more than Hinduism.
No. They are wrong about it. Yeah, I would say no, because there are so I'm coming to the Hinduism part a bit later. Okay, so it's true that the Muslim period and the British period, they really imposed homophobia in the society, and that's still continuing to this day. But
Right.
in Hinduism, there are lots of homophobic verses.
Right.
Okay, and I mean, yes, there are like I mean, okay, Hinduism does recognize more than two genders and stuff and everything. That's fine, but when it comes to homosexuality, they're just mentioned in stories. They're just condoned, like in some stories. From all we know is that homosexuality was recognized by Indians, by Hindus back in the day, but it was not approved of.
Right.
Okay, they
Yeah. Okay. So we do have some homophobic content in Hinduism, right? But they would, but they're never that influential in making Hindus homophobic. I mean,
I
even
mean,
though it's there, we could say the main source of India becoming so homophobic was because of the Islamic Empire's influence and the British Empire's influence. That would be fair to say. I'm just trying
I
to be fair to see
okay,
if it's
I think that is possible because I mean I'm not a historian. I just do it as
right.
hobbies and stuff. But from what I see in this Indian society today, like assuming it was similar back in the day, people just don't recognize it. Man, people
Right.
just think, oh yeah, it's not possible. It's completely unnatural, not at all possible and stuff. And so I mean, it's probably during the Mughal and British times when they think, oh, okay, this happens, but this is bullshit. We need to criminalize it. We need to punish people for this and stuff. I
Right.
think it is possible, but I wanted to say like there are verses in Hindu texts which are like really, really homophobic. For example, I want to mention two verses from Manusmriti. Okay,
Hmm.
so Manusmriti is like the kind of the Sharia in of Hinduism. Okay, and the okay, so just let me mention it's Manusmriti chapter 8, verse 369. A damsel who pollutes another damsel must be fined 200 panas, pay the double of her nuptial fee, and receive 10 lashes with a rod. And
Wait,
the
what's a
next
dam? What's the a what? A
a
dam?
damsel,
What's a dam?
damsel
A
it means
dam?
a virgin unmarried woman
Oh,
who pollutes another virgin unmarried woman.
oh. So this is an anti-adultery.
And it's anti-lesbian
Oh, it's
homosexuality.
anti-lesbian.
Yeah, both are
Okay.
unmarried, and the
Right.
next verse is for if the one who pollutes is a woman, like she's not a damsel, not a young unmarried virgin woman, I guess. And it's for her it says, but a woman who pollutes a damsel shall instantly have her head shaved or two fingers cut off and be made to ride throughout the town on a donkey.
Wait, or that seems like two completely different punishment. Oh, you were gonna shave your head? Like, oh my god, that's abusive. Or cut off your fingers? Like, what? That's two. Like, who decides which one of these? Like, that's okay.
The
That's
Brahmins,
extreme.
the
It's like
Brahmins.
oh, we're either gonna give you a fine or burn you alive. Like what that's too like they're not even comparable. Like they're not even at the same level. How is that? Yeah. Who wrote this
It's
stuff?
completely Brahminical. The Brahmin is completely. I mean, they decide the Brahmin men. They decided everything, and in this.
Hmm.
I mean, this is just one thing. Like there are several other verses. Like there's a verse in Garuda Purana which says like if someone, I mean, usually a man gets oral sex done to him, then he will go to hell, which is full of semen, and he will drown in semen, bringing
Whoa.
and as soon as he dies in that hell, he will be reborn again and drown again in semen.
In semen?
Where are they getting all this?
It's the hell in Hinduism, okay? It's the
The
hell.
hell
It's one of the hells in Hindus. It's just
Hindus
an ocean of semen.
Hindus hell. I mean that shit is great for your skin, I heard. So I don't know.
That's just some bullshit that men say. It's not real.
But, wait, okay. So the first one was lesbians get flogged, right? And then the second one was lesbians again. The second one was
Yeah,
lesbians.
yeah. It was a
Lesbians would get
older woman with a younger woman.
shaved your head or cut fingers off. And this last one was men who commit gay sex. Is that like oral gay sex? That was the third
I
one.
mean, anyone,
Get
any
drowned.
man who gets oral blowjob, who gets a blowjob.
Any man who gets a blowjob from
Yeah, by a
anybody.
man
So
or
this,
woman doesn't
oh, so
matter.
this is adultery. Okay, gets drowned in semen. Okay, I mean technically, if I'm being drowned, I don't really care what. I mean, the fact that I'm being drowned seems to be the main concern rather than what I'm being drowned in. Isn't that? I don't understand. Like these people must have been so disgusted by semen that we're like, "You're being drowned in semen." Like, like that is the highlight for them. Not,
I mean,
not the
there are
drowning.
also, I mean,
What?
there are also verses in there where it says like, throwing your semen anywhere outside a woman's vagina is punishable.
I
I
mean,
mean, they even have a term for anything outside a woman's vagina.
Yeah, that's
these
not
people.
that uncommon.
Mm. Yeah, it says in the Old Testament as well. Didn't
It
somebody
is.
get killed for actually like coming on the ground, and God was like, "Yeah, we're
Yep.
not. That's not allowed."
I mean,
Right?
in Hinduism, it's like completely. There are verses which contradicts these verses because there are stories where gods do these things.
Right.
Like, yeah, there was a story where like Vishnu and Shiva, the two of the top deities in Hinduism, they're two of the three top deities in Hinduism, and there was this time when Vishnu turned into a woman, and Shiva got really attracted to that form, and so he asked Vishnu that, "Hey, will you turn into that woman again? I want to see it for myself." And he turned it again, and yes, and Shiva's wife was feeling so embarrassed that she hanged her head or something because she
What
saw
the
her.
hell?
This took
The-
so many different twists and turns. Like,
Wait, who
Also,
was telling Shiva like? Who was telling Shiva that this is like a Black Mirror episode where two friends, like one of them turns into a girl and they become so attracted to each other. I like, can you go back to being a girl? You were so hot. I want to fuck
no,
you.
this is like literally the plot of an anime. There's a whole sub genre of gender bender animes that people are like very.
yeah,
Isn't
Susanna,
this
the
pro
first
trans?
character.
Actually, wait. Okay, so who got attracted to who when they turned into a woman? Shiva turned into a woman. Who was attracted to him?
No, Vishnu turned into a woman and she got attracted to her.
Oh, okay. And then somebody commit suicide because they were embarrassed.
She was his wife because she thought
She.
my husband's chasing a man who turned into a woman.
She was like, this is too messed up. I can't take this anymore. What?
And then
Holy man.
Vishnu's
What?
female form and Shiva even had a child who is worshipped to this day.
Oh, what the?
Interesting.
Wait, is it? Can this be seen like as pro trans, or the
Yeah,
suicide makes this not?
yeah,
Pro.
there are pro-trans verses in Hinduism. I will admit
Right.
there are like there are gods who just change their sex often, very often, whenever they want and stuff. Even like many heroes and gods in Hindu mythology have changed their sexes and some things
Why
like.
are these not turned into Hollywood movies? Like this is like this shit needs to be turned at least into some form of anime or something.
This is
You know,
prime
They,
anime
they
material.
they have an anime for Ramayana, but it's not like that
I need
detailed.
like another like a one, not one that make for the kids that like make cute and stuff for the kids to learn about Hinduism. I want like some dark shit, like some like turn the Hindu gods into like all the brutality and of it, like visually show all of that. I want like when Ganesh head's being cut off, like show all of that, and the green goes and takes an elephant and cuts his head off. Like that's some dark shit that would sell. I mean, if it's technically true to the books, the Hindus can't even get mad at that because like, well, this is in the books, right? They made, but you could get a lot of. Think about it. You have like 1 billion people that believe in this shit. If you turn like, isn't that going to be profitable, or is it too scary to touch because you might offend the army of people that will come after you? Like I don't know. But I think like this is an opportunity that a lot of people. I mean, I would go watch that. I
Yeah,
think.
while when decriminalizing homosexuality, I mean, the lawyer who was who was against that stuff in the penal code, he literally said he literally, I think, quoted some of the verses from Hinduism and said, "Yes, see, the religion is not has verses supporting it, so you should decriminalize homosexuality already."
But by the way, we guys look at what we're doing. We turned into a suicide story into like and
Anime.
talk to like yeah, like we're like oh forget like who cares about the student who killed
Oh
herself?
no.
Like
Well,
oh
I care.
where's the no like we're like where's the movies and the anime? Like we completely got distracted.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to mention another thing. Like yeah, so there's another thing in Hinduism, like the five products of cow, and there are verses in Hinduism which say that if a man engages in homosexual activity, he should eat uh, this thing, the mixture of these five products, which are cow urine, cow dung, milk, and ghee and curd, which are basically dairy products.
Mhm.
So he has to eat the mixture of these five to purify him.
All right, so on Facebook, Jason is saying about the girl that it was a girl. Yes, it was a girl, right? Whatever. I don't care. The person that the student that committed suicide, Jason is saying she made her own decision, be it lucid or not. Stop blaming other people for shit you do. Um, so she's saying that it's her fault that she committed suicide.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
blame
it's
other
a thing
people.
in India. Like whoever commits suicide are blamed. Almost always blamed. They're termed as selfish and stuff, and like it's so like it's. I mean, anyone who commits suicide was obviously going through mental trauma and everything, and I just feel sorry for them, and that the society just blames the victims.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, do we even need to point out why Jason is wrong? I mean, it's so obvious. I just wanted to read because that was the top comment. It's the top comment not because people like it. It got like it's a top comment because of all the angry reaction that it got.
Yeah.
Torsten is saying
Conversion therapy is completely bogus. It's not scientifically founded, and I think it's frankly like a violation of human rights. Like it's not a pathology, it's not something that needs to be fixed, and it causes serious harm to the people who are forced to go through this. There's some people who choose it voluntarily as adults, and even that I think is harmful and should probably not be allowed because it's not based in reality. But that's a whole different subject.
Tristan is saying I would donate my organs first before I commit suicide. There are people suffering and waiting for organs. I would not be so selfish to waste my organs if I want to die anyways. These people have
What?
weird takes on this. Okay.
What are you supposed to do? Go like let a hospital know beforehand? Like, oh, I'm gonna what?
I mean, you're talking about somebody that is so mentally in such a situation that it just wants to quit, and these are not so weird. So weird people think like this. Like, yeah, this person is uh, experiencing some traumatic experiences and they need help. And you have like some standards that doesn't apply to doesn't the conditions that they're in. It's just so weird. I don't know. Like you don't understand how tough it could be for some people.
I mean,
And
it's
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
it's really tough. I mean, in India, because okay, so comparing to the West, in West, I mean, yes, there are conservative places, but many parts in the Western countries are like accepting by now of homosexuality and even transgender people in many places. But in India, like the wider society is still homophobic and transphobic, and people are like pressured from their families to get cured and stuff because they will lose reputation in the society, and they just don't want to do that. And children, when they hear that their family cares more about their reputation in the freaking society than their children, it's it causes them even more mental pressure and stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you're like you born in a society and everybody and everything seems to be against you and hate you for who you are, and then you're like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck all of you. Fuck everything. Fuck the world." And you're like, "Oh, do you mind contributing something to the world before you leave?" And like, no, this is my fuck you to the world. What are you talking about, right? So like, they're not. Yeah. It's. By the way, I hope I
I
didn't
don't
say
even
anything.
necessarily think it's a fuck you. I mean, as someone who has
Right.
survived a suicide attempt, like, it's typically because that person's brain is in such a chemically unbalanced state that they literally believe that there is no other way to achieve relief from the hell that is inside their head besides this one option.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, take the. It's different from every person, right? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, wow, Shubham, your background again, you seem like you're in an airport, but it's fine because that was our last news.
Okay,
Um,
okay. I think I should point this out, the perspective of the Hindu nationalist on the topic of homosexuality, because I
okay, go
think
on.
we
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
So I mean, when it was like being debated in the Supreme Court if homosexuality should be decriminalized or not, there was a high-ranking official from the RSS, which is like an organization, a very Hindu nationalist organization in India. I often compare them to the KKK, but I think yeah, I would compare them to the KKK. But yeah, so what they were saying was like, okay, so homosexuality should not be illegal, but it is still unnatural and it is still like not good and everything. But it should not be illegal, like it should not be a criminal offense.
That's what the BJP said, the Hindu nationalists saying. Okay.
Yeah, that's what
You're
one
just
highlight.
being an
That's what one.
anti-Hindu bigot, Shubham. You're being an anti-Hindu bigot. That's just admit it. Just admit it, okay? Just accept that. All
I
right.
am a communist spy, okay? I'm a communist spy here to spread leftist propaganda.
Yes, you're. Yeah. All right, guys. That was it. Susanna, did you want to add anything?
No.
Good. Good. Okay, this is fun. Thank you guys in the live chat. Thank you to John, AKL, Adam, Jeffrey on Facebook, Hot Shutter 3000, Angel Rose, everybody else. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button, like it's Quran 434, and all the other things. Hit the notification bell. I mean, seriously, what the hell are you doing if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel? Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, why? Why? Just if you don't want to subscribe, just explain in the comments. See, I'm tricking you because I'm just trying to make you
Well,
leave a
now you're
comment.
just telling on yourself, Armin.
Okay, sorry.
You fucked up
Okay,
your plan.
yeah. If you hate us, if just let us know why our channel is bad. I hate that. Okay, I hate that. It's so horrible. Just comment. Just let us know. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Love you guys. Bye, and see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.